And welcome to the program. This is the Limelight, and my name is Sima Polo. Now, last week, Parliament was divided on a proposal from Cabinet to bail out an astute businessman in this country, Mr. Patrick Bitature, who owns a string of companies under Simba Group of Companies. The dissenting opinion is that often government has moved to bail out distressed businessmen. There has not been tangible results, and some cite a report of 2016 in which the same gentleman, Honorable Mr. Patrick Bitature, received a bailout from government of about $14 million US. And now this time around, Cabinet has approved another $66 million, that is around 246.6 billion Ugandan shillings, to bail out this distressed businessman. And the questions are that it has almost turned into a bottomless pit, pumping billions and billions into businessmen, but with little to show. The general opinion is that possibly there could be other underlying issues that are never addressed, and all government money goes to waste. We need to internalize this particular issue, and to do that, we will connect with Honorable Stephen Muchitare Birawa, and he is a senior economist, but also the former MP for Bulisa County. Welcome to the Limelight once again, Honorable. Let's go straight. What is your general opinion about these government bailouts which are actually given to businessmen in this country?
Salt Media viewers and listeners, good evening. Thank you so much, Bwana Moderator and the producers, plus the team which is with me in this evening, which was carrying train, but by God's grace, we have survived. Now, first of all, as a former chairman of national economy in Parliament, I did make it very clear that bailouts are okay if you bail sectors. Is it agro sector? Are you trying to bail out the apparel cotton sector? Are you going for vegetable oil because you want to reduce import and do import substitution? Are you going for dairy or animal husbandry? Are you going to bail out the banks? Because at that time we had a crisis in 2010 to 13 after the World Depression. That is it okay when a bank fails? Is it the bank failing or the economy? So if it is the economy failing, and the sectors are very critical, it is legitimate for government to find funds. I think what Parliament, as responsible for appropriations, should blame themselves is failing to implement what we left in Parliament. We identified the post-COVID crisis, and we expected them to be able to what you call to kind of a stimulus, a post-COVID stimulus. How do you resuscitate the sectors which were suffering? Now, before we even talk about bailing out individuals, we have just gone through exams, and so many children have fallen out, so many are not sitting exams. I've heard UNEB quarreling with schools which denied people exams, but schools are in debt. Schools have been sold. Over 1,000 schools have been sold since COVID. We have not seen a bailout for schools. So, and it's not about schools, the directors. It's about the young children of Uganda who are being denied a chance to get a demographic dividend through education. So that's number one, public goods. That you provide education, that you provide water, that you provide electricity, that you provide health. Before we get lost into my good friend Patrick Bitature's debate. So that's number one. Also, before I joined Parliament, I was very bitter that Greenland Bank which is the tower is just not very far from where I am now, was not bailed out. It was a real Ugandan banking sector. It was supporting schools, it was supporting coffee, FIBA. I was there, I was in the export. They were in so many areas, and it was allowed to die. We saw the Kato family, ICB, Sanyo coming, and I don't know what happened to them. So I think it is important government realizes. By the way, even Crane Bank, Sudir. One may say Sudir may have made mistakes. It's not Sudir who is collapsing. It's a symptom of a bad economy. So it is the giants like Crane Bank, like the Bitatures, who will see the symptoms. Of course, the right argument, as I've said, would be the criteria for bailout. In America, they say GM is too big to fail, because when it fails, 1 million jobs is lost. And that's the spirit we should take. But in our government, unfortunately, even where you want to promote coffee, government will selectively give money not even to the existing exporters, but to a new person. That's the unfortunate. So Patrick Tature is suffering from that government behavior. One person is picked and helped in the sugar sector. Others are left to die. One person is picked and helped. So that selective discrimination is the unfortunate part my government is doing. But otherwise, in economic terms, bailouts are okay. Governments which are responsible should even buy shares, in struggling companies, as long as they are strategically important. If you think it's going to increase exports of a country, if you think it's going to raise a big tourism promotion, if you think it's going to be an import substitution, it deserves the money. And how I wish my government stop this ad hoc, situational,
Honorable,
kind of
Honorable Stephen, what you refer to, you refer to as an ad hoc process of bailing out distressed businessmen. Are you saying this? There is no formal criteria through which these people do apply and possibly be vetted to benefit from these bailouts?
Absolutely. In 2013, there was a promise of oil and gas business. People borrowed money, and when they collapsed, the person who gave them money most was Sudir. So when Crane Bank was collapsing, they were not telling us that his people who had borrowed money had got problem. So sometimes it is the economy to bail out. Sometimes it is a sector to bail out. If a sector, like during COVID, you've stopped exports, the flowers are not going, people's milk have been poured. The first question a sensitive government should be doing is, how can we intervene, government intervention, to resuscitate, to stimulate, to incentivize, to make sure that things are done. So I am 100% for sector intervention, and the word is across the board. Across the board. Do it in Ankole and do it in Karamoja. Do it in Gulu and do it in Tororo. Do it in Mbale and do it in Busoga. Don't do selective. The other problem in this country, we have lost equity. We do not know that this country has 15 regions. You find a lot of government interventions in one region. No wonder there are those regions which have now reached middle income. There are those regions which have transformed. But the others are stuck. They have 1 meal a day. They have nothing to eat, and we are not even ashamed. We have no sense of remorse to say, fellow countrymen, this country at one time had Busoga growers moving at the same time as Masaka growers. We had Ankole Kweterana moving at the same pace as Bunyoro Kweterana. What happened? What happened that we no longer incentivize, we no longer enable all regions of this country to be productive? Do you know what's even happening? People, the ones who have taken off, are now buying. I've just come from the north and came through Karuma. The ones who took off 10 years ago are buying off the poor. They are going to their regions. They are now the one. So the demonstration model success story is those who took off because of so many government advantages the last 20, 30, 40 years. They are now going with arrogance and saying my bazukulu in Busoga are lazy and they have jiggers. The poor of Karamoja, where you are taking their minerals. No Karamajongo is mining those minerals. It is the guys from here who are mining those minerals. I hear now we have to take cows from somewhere to go and develop the north. That is not a good development model. Let us look at development equitably in terms of it's an entitlement, regional balance. We have every region should develop, and we want the economy to be in the private hands. So the reason why I sympathize with the Patrick Vitatures, they are the ones trying against all odds to have a semblance of Ugandans. The semblance where companies were killed long ago. Wavamno, I pray God keeps him longer. I think the man, if he dies, he will die because his business is being killed. Nobody has helped Semble. Nobody has helped Wavamno. We know these were successful private sector. My government, my president, why don't you look at those who have been big? Because when you deal with efficient and effective private sector, they will succeed. But when you pick your lazy, loyal cadres, relatives, friends, and in-laws, they will never succeed. The money will go down the drain to go to the abyss, and you can't count the cadres who killed the coffee marketing board, the cadres who killed the parastatals, the cadres who started the URL. All those cadres have been looting for themselves at a household level. They are not even enterprising enough to have cottage industries. They can't create jobs. They buy land and leave it full of baboons and everything. So they are even a problem to those neighbors where they have bought land. So can we rethink the question of bailout? Can we rethink the question of where government should be putting money as an enabler to the private sector? So Patrick Vitatures just becomes a statement because he happens to be a player struggling in the private sector, as he has written in some of his literature, from a job seeker to an employer. We want more Ugandans. Why don't we discuss with the Kwagalana group and find out what they want to do? Uganda Chamber of Commerce, Private Sector Foundation. I am coming from Blissa, where we expected that we should have been helped to develop the 12 southern beds of hotels in Nwoya, Pakwach, Bulisa, Kikube, Kiriandonga, and Masindi. Alas, some very powerful people in government are using government money, recoverable cost of oil and gas, to do their own containers. On government money, they will be demolished and exported on government money, and they have denied Ugandans 2 million jobs of tourism 5 years from now. And you think Nakalema doesn't know? you expect Betkamia to handle that case? So this problem is that the economy required a stimulus. Tourism, where Vitatures needs. If Vitatures and others wanted to provide accommodation, feeding, and transport for those oil and gas workers for 7 years, even at $80, they would do it. Their rooms are empty in Kampala. But people who have never owned a lodge, who have never owned a takeaway, are the ones doing the business in Bulisa, in Nwoya, and in Kikube. So it is again a denial of rights of citizens, economic rights to do business. It's a discrimination of the highest order. It stinks. It is unfortunate. So all these Afrikaners, the existing hotels in Uganda, if you told them in 3 months, each of you give us 300 beds in the oil area, they will give you. But we have chosen not to support those who have struggled for all decades to market Uganda as a destination for tourism. Now we are going for those looters who are relatives, friends, and in-laws, 5, 6 families taking everything. I don't know where this money goes, where they present that money even. It is too much money to deny the real tourism sector and give it to a few families whom we have never seen in tourism. This is happening in Bulisa. This is happening in Bulisa. Actually, I'm bitter that I'm trying to go into tourism. We have been denied that business. We have hundreds of beds empty. Unfortunately, it has happened again in Mwea. The tour guide is killed, tourists are killed. So we really need, as a country, to calm down and agree.
Honorable Stephen,
the budget is being appropriated.
Honorable Stephen,
is not proper.
Honorable Stephen, you've said you raised this issue during committee meetings while you were still in charge of the Committee on National Economy. We have read stories and people have talked about it, referring to businessmen like the Sembule who own the Sembule steel mills and all those companies. Why has the policymakers not attended to this particular issue up to this point? What do you call that? I mean, this denial that this is a problem and the government is losing money.
Have you heard of the deep state? Have you heard of the mafias? Have you heard of the state capture? The parliament you are looking at, the one I was in, the cabinet you are seeing, is powerless. Power is elsewhere. The guys with power are the ones who are going to decide who is going to get a bailout. The guys who have power are the ones who are going to decide. The one who has never owned a hotel in Uganda is the one providing food in oil and gas for 12,000 beds. So, and denying 2 million citizens jobs in 5 years, which because one tourist can employ 20 people. So if you allow under the UDC model, but this time, UDC model gave us Crested Crane Hotel, Mountains of the Moon, all those hotels you find everywhere in the country, Rock Hotel in Tororo, Masindi, we have one, Gulu Inn. Those hotels were every Rhino in Arua. That
all right. Well, looks like we lost connection with Honorable Stephen Muchitale Birawa, the former member of parliament for Bulisa County.
Thank you so much.
And he's back. And finally from you, Honorable Stephen, make some more recommendations on how best this can be done. Can it only be done by either through the Ministry of Investment, or how best can this be executed? Oh no, looks like we still have an issue with connectivity. But, well, we've been speaking to Honorable Stephen Muchitale Birawa. He's a senior economist and a politician. We have been talking bailouts, and we hope those who are in charge of this country and the economy may have been listening. Finally, from you, just one word, Honorable. I was asking which particular ministry can handle this. Should it be the investment minister for investment? What could it be?
It is an interministerial, multi-sectoral, integrated committee. And we have been talking about that. It is done elsewhere. It is possible. We know the private sector foundation, the UMA, the Kwagalana Group, the Uganda Chamber of Commerce of Mchala Chigongo, they know, and working with the ministry knows, URA knows who was paying taxes and who doesn't, you know. So we know we know in the Ministry of Labor who is employing and how many people have fallen off jobs since COVID. The data is there. So government, we're not reinventing a wheel.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Stephen. Thank you so much for your time and your insightful analysis on this particular matter. And, well, we wait to see how it works out. I think he was talking about an inter-ministerial committee that should be in charge of sieving and vetting those that are eligible for government bailouts, possibly on looking at how many people they employ, how they have been paying taxes, and possibly if the businesses are viable, they won't suffer the same problems in 1 year or 2 years to come. My name is Simapolo. Let's catch up again next Friday on the Limelight. We are going into a Misinji with Pastor Aloysius Bujingo at exactly 8. Don't go away. God bless Uganda. God bless you.